Hello fellow woodworkers and welcome to this week's edition of the Garage Workshop 10-minute tool review. This week we're going to be checking out some of Parkside's latest DIY goodies. Roll the intro. Okay, so in this week's edition of the Garage Workshop 10-minute tool review, we're going to have a look at some of the Parkside products that are currently in the Middle of Lidl range. Now, I've got some of them here. I've actually got 6 of the products here, but I'm actually going to review 7. The 7th I don't have anymore, and you'll understand a bit more when we get to the end and I talk about that. But this week there is a DIY sale going on in the Middle of Lidl, and I filmed this video on Saturday the 21st of May, so they should still be around. And I've got a range of things here, mostly to do with measuring and clamping, but a couple of things I wanted to bring your attention to. So we're going to start with this. Now, if you remember, a while ago I did a video about a Parkside electronic sort of staple stroke brad gun. I put a link here to what was a disastrous tool review, and I thought I'd fix the gun, but unfortunately I haven't, because it's firing more often than not and it keeps jamming. So whatever I did, I didn't do a fantastic job. So I went out and I bought myself an electric stapler nailer. I think, from memory serves me right, I think this might have been $11.99. It might have even been $20.99. I'll try and put the link up on the screen for how much it was. Now, the reason I bought this is just sort of hobbyist one, and when you look at the pictures on the side of it, hopefully you can see those pictures on the side. It says it's for doing things like reupholstering, canvassing. It does show at the bottom some sort of light woodworking uses, but for me, I didn't buy this because I'm going to put a lot of heavy duty action into it. I use this because I want to make sure, if I need a stapler, like on a couple of occasions when I've had to redo the wire in the chicken coop, and where I just wanted to put a staple in to join 2 pieces of wood or to hold an existing wood glue joint, it's always handy to have one, which is why I bought the other gun in the first place, which sadly has now stopped working. So the electronic stapler nailer, and I'll put a little video in of just me using it on some wood so you can see that. So that is the first product in this little mini tool haul. Okay, the second product in this tool haul might seem a bit of an unusual one, but it is this Parkside Universal Thinner. Now, thinners you can get anywhere, I'm aware of that. They're very common, they're very cheap, and buy them in all sorts of DIY places as well as the big box stores. But the reason that I picked this one, and as it says on the tin, it's got a very high dissolving rate, is it is absolutely fantastic for cleaning brushes, cleaning rollers. I had a tin of this ages ago. I mean, probably getting on for 2 years ago now. When it first came out, I just picked it up, just, you know, as you do when you're walking down the aisle, which is a bit fatal. I think it's $1.99 a tin, if I remember correctly, but it is really nice quality stuff. The tin is a litre. It's obviously produced in Germany, where a lot of Lidl products are, but it's really, really good quality thinners for what is a really, really good price for a 1 litre tub. Now, I'm not saying that it's cheap. You might be able to get them cheaper elsewhere, but it's actually a really, really nice product, this one. So if you're in the market for getting some paint thinners, this is a good bet, especially at the price. Okay, so the third product actually isn't in this week's Middle of Lidl, but it's one of those products which has been delayed from a previous Middle of Lidl week. Now, I'm not sure if it's the same in the Lidls wherever you are around the country, or if you're watching this from another part of the globe in Europe, but sometimes they don't have the items that they should have in the Middle of Lidl ranges, and you'll just see them randomly pop up about 2 weeks later. So this is one that randomly popped up in my Lidl this week. Hold it a bit closer so you can see it. And this is the Parkside hand sander. Now, really straightforward, it's a sander, you'll be thinking, but the 2 things I like about this, I did have one of these before, but it wasn't made by Parkside. It was actually made by Work Zone. It was an Aldi one. But I'm going to tell you now, with the exception of the Parkside writing that is on the handle there, it is identical. And the reason why I picked up another one was my old one eventually wore out, had a lot of bashes in it, and the plastic handle came a bit loose eventually. But the mechanism for trapping the sandpaper, it's got 2 sort of sturdy metal clips on it. Let me open it and show you. And they really hold the sandpaper in really well. And actually the cardboard holds it in very well. So that's what it looks like. Nice flat. It's a sort of foamy rubberized on the surface on the bottom, but as you can see, it's got the two clips on the side here, and they really hold in the sandpaper very well. You just flick them up there to release it, and obviously put the sandpaper in either side, and then just put it back down. Oops, he says. But the reason why I bought it is, as I said, it was really good. The first one I had was really good, and I missed it when I didn't have it. So really cheap as well. I think this was $1.99, maybe $2.99. And if you're in the market for one, it's got a nice solid handle in it, and it's really good for putting your sandpaper in. So if you need one and you see it in your Lidl store, it might be worth picking it up. So that's the third item, I think, in the tool haul for this week. Okay, so the next two items in the tool haul for this week are both related to marking, drawing and measuring. The first is one of these quick squares. Now you will have seen me use these before. I've actually got one hanging up on the wall here. You will have seen me use these before, and again I think this was $1.99, but for a quick square, easy for me to say, it is incredibly good. It's very straight, incredibly accurate, and I have to be honest, I've dropped mine quite a few times. It's not dented or anything. It's made from solid aluminium, but it's a really nice little square. Obviously it's not as big as my other pivot square, which I think is made by Magnuson, but for the price it is a really nice little piece of kit. And the reason that I bought two is I bought this one here, which I bought when I first started woodworking on Wish, and although it's okay, I don't find it's very straight, and I also find the pivot point at the end is really difficult to use, whereas the pivot point on the end of this one, hopefully you can see that, is really good. And also, I don't know if you can compare the two there, this has got a much thicker edge on it, and this has got a much thinner edge, and it's much better than this one. And as I said, this one actually isn't true, to be honest. It's a bit out. So worth picking up if you're in the market for one of those. Also in this week's sale, I haven't featured it here, are the Parkside sort of T-square rulers that you can see up on the board here. They've also got those. That's actually all well, it's two sets. It's that set, which is a set of 3, and these two, which 2. Those all are in the sale this week if you get a chance to go down there. So the Parkside quick square. Okay, the next item is the Parkside MultiAngle Ruler. Now I have to be honest, I have never ever had one of these before, and the reason I bought it is I really liked the way it was manufactured. It's not flimsy at all. It's nice and solid, as you can see. And all the knobs and everything, they're not made of plastic, they're made of metal. It's all made of aluminium, and it actually looks quite nice quality. And bearing in mind the experience that I've had with the Parkside Quick Square, I just thought it would be worth it. And some of the projects I've done this year, I've thought, oh, I could, do with something like this, and I've had to faff about using a combination of rulers and my quick squares, and actually something like this where you can easily transfer a shape, a marking, a design, I think is going to come in very useful to have in the workshop. Okay, now the last item that is in this review, and I know it probably seems like I'm very pro Parkside on this channel, so I'm going to finish with something which I actually don't have. I'm going to put a picture up in the screen here of it, and it is the Parkside workbench. Now this is the equivalent to me of like a Black & Decker Toolmate, one of the little benches that folds up flat, that's super convenient usually. Now this workbench I bought really early on when I first started woodworking. It was in their Middle of Lidl, and I thought, knowing Lidl, it'll be a good product, so I bought it. Now interestingly, I have noticed that they've slightly changed the design for the one that you can buy in the shops now, but I'm going to say, I'll put the price on the screen, I think it's $36.99 at the moment, but when I bought it was about $24.99 I think, or $29.99. It was a lot cheaper, obviously that was before COVID. But what I liked about it was very versatile. You could fold it up, it wasn't too heavy, it wasn't too cumbersome. Now when I started using it, I was using it all through a winter, so it was outside, it was out in the cold, but I did take very good care of it. But literally within a few weeks, I started to notice some problems. When you wound the handles, they seemed to go tight, which at first I thought, oh, it's the glue, or it's the oil, or the grease has, you know, dried up, because obviously it's been outside in the cold. And when I looked, it hadn't. So I put some more lubricant on it. I actually put some grease on it, which was what I was advised to do. And that cured it, no problem. Then after about another 4 or 5 weeks, same thing happened again. And then the mechanism for folding it flat and opening it began to go a bit stiff. The metal on it buckled. It wasn't really very, very good quality. And in the end, I ended up taking it back and getting my money back. Now, I then, about 3 or 4 months later, picked up the Aldi, the Work Zone equivalent of the same bench. And I had exactly the same problems. I've still got that Aldi one, but to be honest, it's a bit naff now. It's sort of dead. So for something like that, I know Black & Decker are the market range. Something like that, you can't really scrimp on it, but that is the only one in the current buys that I would advise against buying, only because of my experience. Now, I could have had a Duff one. We all know that. You do get Duff ones from here and there, but to be honest with you, I wasn't impressed with the manufacturing quality of it. So I personally would not be advising you buy that one. I think you have to be a bit careful. And as I said, they have changed the design. It might be much better now, but certainly I had a very negative experience, and it's probably one of only 2 or 3 things that I've ever had to take back to Lidl in terms of tools because it didn't work very well. So again, up to you, but if it was my choice, I would probably invest the money and go for a slightly higher model from somewhere like Wix or B&Q or Screwfix, where you know you're going to have a quality product. So, fellow woodworkers, that is the end of this little mini Parkside tool haul update. No build this week. I have got quite a few things going on, because believe it or not, I don't do this all the time. I've got a few things going on outside, but I've got a couple of really good builds coming up, and one of which is about the thickness, where I'll be using the thickness of planer, and I am going to go back to using the lathe. I've got a little lathe project that I've got coming up. If this is your first time at the channel, please can I ask you to subscribe. It would be great to get a few more subscribers. I think as I film this, I'm on 372, I think, subscribers, which is amazing. But if it is your first time, please subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and make a comment. I read and reply to all of the comments I get. If you're a regular viewer, thanks for sticking with the channel. It means a lot to me, and don't forget to like and comment. Hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye, fellow woodworkers.